Are you ready to reclaim joy in your life? Why joy? Why now? Welcome to Joy Rules with me, Lorelei, your joy guru. While the world looks like it's at a breaking point, burnout, stress, isolation, and overwhelm dominate the headlines. Within all this, there's a longing for something deeper, something that heals beyond the mind. Joy fuels health, sparks expansive thought, aligns us spiritually, and connects us to one another. Join me as I weave astrology, intuition, and modern psychology to ignite your soul's highest alignment. Each week, I sit down with luminous guests who embody joy as a spiritual path, a creative force, and a way of life. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's dive into the joy. Because when joy rules, transformation becomes inevitable. Hello, hello, hello. I am so excited. I went to Copilot to say, what's a spiritual way to say, like a kid in a candy store? Because that's how I feel. And this is so special because, and Dr. Pat, you're my guest, you're my friend. You have helped,
Yes.
helped me birth this joy revolution. And I kept getting pinged. I kept getting pinged like the sun's in Scorpio for the next show. You want to focus on Scorpio energy, Lorelei. You know, I get guided like you get guided, you know, that comes in. And I went, well, so Dr. Pat and I have and this is one thing I hope you will all leave with. In addition to feeling more uplifted, encouraged, and inspired to be you, but also you'll know a little bit more about Dr. Pat and us, but also to know that every relationship you have with anyone has a signature astrologically. You have a chart, they have a chart, the computer comes up with the midpoint, and there is a relationship. And if you know what a relationship, the energy of a relationship, it can certainly help maximize that relationship. So Dr. Pat is a Sagittarius. I'm a Libra. Our relationship, all these Sages, my kids, Sarah and Michael and Adina, all these people, Scorpio. So that was the idea behind doing a deep dive into joy, because what brought us together was your invitation in terms of hosts, and talk about being at the right place at the right time. You know, you reached out to Tammy, who's been a guest on your show a couple of times. She sends it to me, you and I connect. And every conversation we have had, no matter what it's, you know, whether it's been the website or the show, has been always this comfort of diving deep together. I mean, we're of the same cohort. We come from the same city. We both come from New York. So there's that. But I thought, you know, and we're blessed by the interviewing gods today, Dr. Pat, because the sun is in Scorpio and the moon is in Sagittarius, and Larry King was a Scorpio with a Sagittarius moon. So my point being, this, and the other reason I wanted to interact with you is because you are a Sag and the moon's in Sag. And Sag is all about humor, which is one of the pillars of joy. Yeah. So welcome to your network. Welcome to my show. And this is, I mean, and then I went, well, do I reach out to, you know, and then I went, well, but I'm being pinged. And I reached out and you said, yeah, that would be great. And so I just feel so acknowledged. I feel seen, and I'm just so grateful.
Well, I got to tell you, it has been so amazing to be able to work with you, because for the audience, if they don't know this, what you see is what you get. And what I mean by that is it's so amazing when I wake up and I have a text message from you, right? And I listen to the text message, and it's so beautiful because you're sharing a moment of the day. You know, you're giving people insight. And the way you do that is so beautifully. You don't hide away from, well, be careful, people, today. You're right there, but then you flip it around and you make sure we understand that we also have a choice of how we go about our day and our world. but I know very little about Scorpio, and I don't think you're surprised.
Well, but here's what's interesting about your chart. Now, is it okay if I share
Yes,
some
of course.
astrological? Well, it's interesting. I've come by that over the years because when someone gives me their birth information, that is a sacred act of trust. They may not know it. I'm looking at a chart. I don't know the decisions, though the choices someone has made, but I know how they're wired. So, no, you don't have any planets in Scorpio,
Right.
but all of your Capricorn is in the Scorpio house. So you know how to maximize resources. I mean, look at this network. I mean, in
Yeah.
terms of the people, maximizing the resources, of others. Um, and the one other thing I wanted to say, which again just blows me away, and I won't say the S word that ends in T, I will say you can't make this stuff up, is that your Taurus rising, it's another grounded part of you. That's Venus, that's relationships. I mean, your life is obviously relationships for sure. Um, by one of the forecasting techniques, that Taurus rising has evolved just in the last year and I told you this on one of our conversations, into Leo, into the sign of da 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 joy. So I thought, look at this. You and I come together to collaborate, to co-create at a time when the energy in your chart has moved out of Cancer, which would be, all the putting the roots down and security issues and safety issues and vulnerability issues. Leo is another fire energy. So I looked at that again today and I thought, well, isn't that amazing in terms of timing?
Well, it is. And, part of this, I'm so glad you picked this day because I don't know how you're going to explain what I'm about to say to you, is that, there are people that muscle test things, and I think it's great. I don't religiously go around and do that. I just have a feeling about some things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't always work out really well when you have a team of people and you're like, I just feel we need to do it this way,
Yeah.
right? So most of my life, I used to make up stories because you can't always say, especially in corporate America, I just feel we should we should do it this way. But I've recently, and today is one of those days, I had a major epiphany today.
Oh,
Our
tell.
launch is the beginning of our launch starts next Friday, and it plays itself out for about, I'd say, 10 days to 2 weeks, different aspects of it. But the main thing is the website redesign. So I have felt under pressure to get it done. And I just had to tell my immediate team, you just got to wait for me. It's not done. It's not the style that we need. I've got to code all the widget, and I need to honor that time and not feel pressured into doing something that I'll regret. And it's fascinating because so much of my life has been running around trying to meet deadlines, doing things. But today, it was a major, I'm not doing it. I know what I need to work on today, and I'll work on it tonight. I know the direction, and whoever is waiting for me to finish this design, it's just going to take a little bit longer.
Yeah. Well,
And I don't know how that shows up in the chart today, but that's how I woke up today.
yeah. Well, one of the things when I was taking a shower, I get tremendous inspiration in the shower, and your chart popped into my head, and I was thinking, because you're a Sagittarius sun, that's your essence. And Sag is about the adventure. Sag is about the journey. It's teaching, it's selling, it's marketing, it's don't fence me in, it's freedom. But you came in, your soul chose to come in with significant Capricorn energy, which means you're a visionary by nature and a planner. I mean, how we need to take this step, and then we secure the footing, and then we take the next step, and it's trusting that process. Not every Sag is wired with Capricorn energy. Not every Sagittarius is able to take their vision and actually manifest it concretely, which would be and you went to school. I mean, you got that was later in life, right? That you got your
Yes.
grad. Yeah, that's very Capricorn.
Yeah.
It's
I heard Capricorns are, what's the right word? Late bloomers. Is that like a right term?
It's interesting. The people born with Capricorn energy can feel old and mature when they're young, and the older they get, the younger they feel. It's like all of a sudden it's not, they don't feel they need to be as responsible, or there's not the burden, or whatever. um but I talk about your cast of characters, like we have all these parts of us. And my another part of my intention, I was thinking about it, is that just whatever is discussed astrologically in any of these episodes reflects the current cosmic weather. Like, it was so exciting to me to actually ask you to participate in this with me
Yeah.
based on what the cosmic weather now and what people could be feeling. And I thought, that is just, and I was delighting in that. That was bringing me so much joy. It was like, and I was almost like looking for permission for somebody to tell me I can't, or let me fight against if you disagree with me. My stuff, right? So, um and humor being one of the pillars of joy. Well, Sagittarius is the sign of humor. And and yet you might be a bit more of a pragmatic humorist, or a realist. I mean, because it's both. It's like you can be serious as all get out, uh, you know, and yet you can be, I would think, I
Yeah.
haven't, you can also be in that sad space, which is, okay, where's the adventure today? Where am I being?
That's exactly right. It is exactly right. And, part of this, it shows up by my wacky sense of humor.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not kidding. When I was younger, I could not stop laughing for the Saturday Night Live shows that had the little screaming Bill character, and I have that kind of sense of humor. But also, I have a lighter side too about how I go through my day. And I laughed at myself today. I had to laugh at myself. So I tried to look at my solar return because I tried to figure out what's happening. Why did I think? And I reached out to you and I said something like, I know we're launching on the 31st, but I need a stretch time.
Hmm.
You know, we have to be something this big to think you could do it all at once. That's my Sag that like goes way out there. And then the Capricorn comes in and says, no, you need to break it up for the public.
Exactly. Here's that step, and here's, yeah.
Right. And so this morning, poor Jessica and Linda, I'm just saying. So when I get up like that and I go into our little teams, and Sierra, you are not part of this, you're very lucky. And I start and I say, look, let me do the websites. Just leave them alone. Don't worry about it. But here are the 10 things you two can do to help me.
Mm,
And part of that is even organizing a meeting of all of you and getting together and talking to you and showing you. And these are the kinds of things I'm not good at,
mm.
right? I got a triple Virgo over there and I got a Libra. And so give it to them to do because I need to get back to the design.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's so, I mean, the way this, I mean, I'm always in awe of synchronicity. And of course, the more we surrender into synchronicity, the more we see it. It's like something happens and then that confirms that. And that's how I live my days. Um, so you a couple weeks ago said, have you ever heard of the Book of Joy? And I had not, but I went to Amazon and I went, oh my God, the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu. I mean, talking about joy in the midst of suffering, and both of them having had very significant challenges in their life. So of course I set out to get the book, which thank God is in big print, because it's 519 pages, but it's because it's big print. But it was a joy to read. Like, when you read a book and it's little print, it's not
I
a
know.
joyful task to try to read it.
No.
So that I was so grateful for, because you know what, Dr. Pat, I feel, and I've got stuff going through my Sagittarius house, and I've got planets that have evolved into Sag. I am getting an honorary graduate degree in joy.
Yeah.
I'm studying joy, and you have been so instrumental in this. Because I remember thinking about my own chart months ago and going, I wonder what I'm going to study that's new. I wonder what I'm going to study with all that sad stuff going on. Now I know it's joy. And there's two things I wanted to get in from the book. One is the humor piece, and you already said it. You said I was laughing at myself because I was thinking, you know, I love people that have a sense of humor. I love it. It's paramount for me in all my relationships. And then I thought, well, can one cultivate a sense of humor? I mean, there's certain people that, they're not funny by nature, but can it be, so I asked Copilot, my new best friend, which was, and what I discovered was laughing at yourself is a way that somebody could say, well, no, I don't have a funny bone in my body, but this happened. And I actually was able to look at myself humorously. You can do that naturally. And, many people can. So, what a beautiful thing to know, like that humor is a gateway to joy. And the way to have a sense of, to cultivate that is to be able to laugh at yourself because then you're in a shared humanity with everyone else.
When I talk about, and I've started to do this recently, and I talk about my early years and my journey, painful as a child, especially my early years in Catholic boarding school. I tell this now with a sense of humor because it's laughable. I mean, who gets expelled from Catholic boarding school at age 6? There's only one reason you would get expelled, and that is if you claim to talk to God or Jesus and it turned out to be true, right?
You, age
That's what gets
six?
at 6. That's how you get expelled. That's the only way, right?
Yeah, totally.
Especially when your dad is paying a lot of money at this private Catholic school. First of all, if you're 6 years old, you shouldn't be in that boat. But now when I talk about things, even my homeless experience on how I got the hot dog job, I can laugh about it. I can laugh about it. And yet I can also be extraordinarily activated, activist,
Hmm.
fight for the underdog person. I don't know which part of that is, but I can be two things at the same time, in a sense. And I
Yeah.
love that.
Well, and I think it's the both and. And I think most people tend to define themselves, I'm this or I'm that. I mean, I'm a Libra. That's all about team and sharing. And I've been married a lot and, all of that. But I have a strong Mars, which is me. And it's taken years to reconcile that I really do. Relationships are significant to me, and it's about me asserting what's best for me, and then my relationships take care of themselves. And so that's why I talk about a cast of characters. It's like I sit around a round table with myself and talk to myself. Like here's the Cancer rising, emotional, sensitive. Oh, wow, you're feeling overwhelmed, Lorelei. Well, you probably need to go rest. My point being, humor again. The beautiful thing about astrology is it's such a beautiful way to be able to share with someone else maybe an element of of a relationship with them in a humorous way where someone doesn't feel attacked or not seen or whatever.
And let me ask you this question because this is now this is coming out into a whole new world and energy. And I think I mentioned to you at one time one of the most important books that had joy related to it and referenced in it was Hawkins' book, Power versus Force.
Hmm.
And the person that gave it to me obviously thought that at this point in time in my life, I better learn some of these emotions, right? And so whenever it came to look at joy, I would laugh. I would think that's ridiculous. I mean, I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I get
Because
it.
where I was down the bottom. I was in a survival paradigm. Joy is in the spiritual paradigm.
Right.
See, and that's the world you stepped into and you're sharing. But there's something else too we should talk about. It's not just what you're doing, but it's how you're doing it, how you're integrating different things into the conversation. Like today, we're talking about our charts and astrology. We're talking about things that I don't understand. I looked at my solar return chart I don't know how long ago, and it was so like a piece of art. I printed it out and put it in a frame, even though I have no clue what that means, what any of that at all means. It just was so like that. I thought this is just a work of art, and I put it up on the wall, and that's it. That's all
Well,
I did with it.
and planets, people tend to we want to blame so often. Why I feel this way because of this, the shrink, my man, the woman, this. or the planets, you know. And the thing is, whatever's going on in the heavens is informing what's already going on inside the individual. So it's not that, oh, I couldn't help it because Mercury was retrograde. I mean, that's astrological malpractice, really. It's more, how can I be informed and be more me? And you know, the recipe for joy that I've been, you know, swimming in has been the more we are who we are, the more, and we find acceptance in that, like right away, my self-acceptance because of my connection with you and the network, and being acknowledged for all these things that I do, you know, because then all judgment is self-judgment anyway. And I don't, you know, and all of a sudden I felt that I stepped into a whole new reality of, wow, Lorelei, look how much more you can be yourself. Well,
Mm.
great joy comes out of when we're accepting and loving the good, the bad, and the ugly, then everybody else does too.
You know, this is kind of for people listening. And, you know, for me, the moment I had today, I don't want to make like that. I don't want to make light of it. I don't want to make light of the decision
Yeah.
where I said, had to say, no, the sites are not going to be done today. Because, you know, from where other people sit, they look and they say, here she goes again. She's going to be late, right? Right. And yet I had to make that statement because I wasn't happy with them. I wasn't feeling them, right?
Yeah.
You understand? It
Yeah.
wasn't, but we're close.
Yeah.
And yet the Capricorn kicks in, and maybe you can explain this to people. The Capricorn gets real happy now because I just gave my permission to really look at this systematically, redesign some of the widgets that are going to be used on multiple pages. It's kind of like these two sometimes battle each other,
Yeah.
but today not. And I don't really understand that. It
Well,
just happened.
it's like the Capricorn is in service to your Sagittarius. Like you're a Sag, that's about the vision. That's a visionary. I mean, all the fire signs are visionaries. And the Capricorn is, yes, sir, I'll do this. Yes, yes, that's what, okay, that's what I need to do. I'll be responsible for this. Oh, yeah, we need to take that step and then this and then that. So it's a much more, the Capricorn part of you is that Catholic obedient part. I mean, in other words, but that also evolved into Aquarius in your life, which would say, hey, I'm not even at six. And it was interesting that you just said that. I knew you went to Catholic boarding school because we share that. I was a little older. I was 12. But six, look how fast you had to grow up.
Oh,
I mean,
oh,
there's the Capricorn energy in your chart. You were 6 years old and you were in boarding school, for Pete's sake.
yes. And here's the kicker. And this is really why I love working with you, because here's the kicker. What happened in boarding school? My dad shows up, but here's my new soon to be stepmom. This is right after I declared that Jesus told me my mom was with him. And of course she was. My mom had passed. And Mother Superior got the note before I walked in and said it. So that puts everybody in a frenzy. Get the Archbishop, da 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 da. My dad shows up, but here comes this beautiful 30 years younger than him woman who soon to become Mama Doris, my stepmom. Southern Baptist, but non-denominational, really positive. She could have been the Joel Osteen of today's world. But she shows up and she's listening to all this. And the only thing I remember at a young age is her looking at them and said, no, she's not going to change her story. And in a really Southern jaw, like, y'all, I'm telling you, she is not going to change her story. And I'm telling you right now, you better get yourself a new act together because we don't do that where I come from. When Jesus talks to you, Jesus talks to you. She ain't changing it. You can expel her, you could kick her out, but she'll always be a child of the divine. That was my stepmom. And you could see a beautiful woman, blonde
Oh,
hair, red lipstick, red, right? Underestimated this woman. And she
yeah,
waited.
that's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah. My dad was a yes, yes guy. But that was it. And off we went. And my mom said some other things at that point in time. But you see, I wouldn't change my story.
Well, you were being true to yourself,
I had to
even
be
at that
true.
age. I mean, well, that was because they used to say the age of reason, or I guess they still do, is at seven. That's the first Saturn. But that's kind of where you were, that little adult knowing what you knew to be true.
Yes, and I was getting ready to be 7 a month later. This was
Interesting.
November, right? And in
Interesting.
a month, I was going to be 7. But part of what we're talking about today is how do we look at our lives? How do we weave ourselves together? And I'm so glad you got that book.
Oh,
I knew you would love that
I'm
book.
like immersed in it. That's why I got, oh my God, I am actually studying joy
Yeah.
because, out of suffering can come great joy. It certainly did for me. And that's another story, a health adventure that took me to my knees. I didn't know where the joy was. I didn't see in me what others saw. And then all of a sudden I did, and it totally rebirthed everything. And then connecting with you at a time when community, this is a community among other communities, but community is what's going to save our asses, I want to say. I can say that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, really, in terms of whether it's a network like this, a spiritual community, a pickleball community, a dance community, whatever it is, people coming together to share their humanity. Um, so, and one other thing, the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu, their relationship, one is a Libra, one's a Virgo, their relationship, Leo, joy.
Wow.
You
Yeah.
can't make this stuff up, right?
Yeah. I get asked a lot, and I know the show is coming to an end. I get asked a lot when people look at my relationship with my best friend, who's like a triple Virgo or something. I don't even know. And they always ask how you two get along. And I say, it's real simple. I don't argue with Linda.
And Linda has Mars in Leo, so she's got a very joyful side.
We gotta get her to bring that out, though. I'm telling you, I've watched her learn how to play table tennis now, and I can see it. Um, but thank you for inviting me here today.
Thank you for accepting my invitation, and I'm sure we will be having other deep dive conversations as we move along this journey. And to all of you who have joined today and who will rewatch or re-listen to this, thank you so much for being part of my dream. And just know that no matter what is going on in your life, you actually can feel a greater sense of joy just by shining your light and being who you are. And until we connect, I wish you blue skies, green lights, and lucky stars. Thank you for listening to Joy Rules with me, Lorelei Robbins, your joy guru. If this episode sparked something in you, don't keep joy to yourself. Share and spread the light. Tune in the second and fourth Friday of the month at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on Transformation Talk, where together we reclaim joy as the foundation for transformation. To dive deeper, visit me at joyrules.com. And remember, joy isn't optional, it's essential. And visit joyrules.com for lots more joy. Until next time, keep choosing joy and join the joy revolution. And until we connect, I wish you blue skies, green lights, and lucky stars.